After the 2022 tournament in Qatar, Argentina's players were formally investigated for a series of chaotic on-field celebrations. FIFA's response was a total fine of around $25,000, and not a single player was suspended. That set a clear historical precedent: charge them in public, but barely graze them in practice. That pattern of leniency extended right through this summer's tournament, peaking during the final. In the middle of a massive brawl, FIFA's own systems flashed a red card for Argentina's Leandro Paredes. Then, in real time, the card was quietly deleted and no action was taken. The governing body's approach was so generous that following the final, FIFA President Gianni Infantino sent the Argentine team a private letter, warmly praising their professionalism, completely ignoring the violence that had just played out on camera. That is exactly how FIFA prefers to operate. They keep the playbook in the shadows, managing controversies with soft whistles and vanished cards, so problems disappear before anyone really notices. But the president's timing was terrible. At the exact moment he sent his letter of praise, an independent prosecutor for FIFA's disciplinary committee was building a massive, formal case against the same players. The prosecutor bypassed the subjective nature of on-field calls, putting these accusations in writing on official FIFA letterhead to initiate a strict legal proceeding. You can easily memory hole a deleted graphic on a television broadcast, but you cannot delete a published disciplinary document. By formally opening these proceedings, FIFA stripped itself of the quiet authority it normally uses to protect its star teams. The specific language used by the prosecutor is what makes this case so dangerous for the players. The documents completely bypassed soft terminology like unsporting behavior or regrettable incident. The formal charge is assault. This graphic maps out FIFA's own disciplinary code. When you hit the legal threshold for assault, you remove the committee's ability to be lenient. A guilty verdict triggers a mandatory minimum suspension of at least 3 matches. Leandro Paredes is the first name on that list. He is facing 3 separate counts of assault for striking Spain's Eric Garcia in the throat with an open hand and then shoving Tavi to the turf. Nahuel Molina is right behind him, facing 2 independent counts of assault for throwing a punch at Spain's captain Rodri, along with an additional charge of unsporting behavior. Then there is assistant coach Roberto Ayala. He is facing 1 count of assault for striking an opposing player. Coaching staff are specifically tasked with maintaining order on the sidelines, making an assault charge against one exceptionally rare. This chart stacks up the compounding threat of those charges. Because Paredes is facing 3 distinct counts at a 3-match minimum per count, he is looking at a baseline 9-match suspension that would wipe out a massive slice of Argentina's next competitive campaign. FIFA's rulebook mandates these specific penalties through a rigid mathematical formula, establishing them as official legal requirements independent of any public grievance. To understand how rigidly this rulebook is being applied, look at Spain's Gavi. He was physically manhandled during the brawl, but he is now on the exact same charge sheet as his attackers for unsporting behavior. Charging one of the victims confirms that the prosecutor cast a wide net, strictly following the legal code regardless of the players' nationalities. The players, however, are only half the problem. The prosecutor opened a second, massive case against the Argentine Football Association itself for a catalog of systemic failures across the entire tournament. The federation is defending itself against allegations of racist abuse by fans, security failures, and using a match to stage a prohibited political demonstration regarding the Falkland Islands. By elevating these charges to the federation level, the prosecutor ensured the fallout won't just hit a few hot-headed players. A guilty verdict creates an inescapable, permanent mark against the entire organization. A friendly post-match letter can be ignored, and a vanished red card fade from memory, but a published assault charge attached to a 3-match minimum requires a ruling, and the whole world gets to read it. This flowchart breaks down FIFA's impossible dilemma. Down the left path, choice A, uphold their own rulebook, apply the mandatory minimums, and strictly punish the players. But if they do that, FIFA publicly admits the team its president warmly praised was actively committing physical assault. Then there's choice B, wave the charges through, issue token fines like they did in Qatar, and actively shield the team. If they choose that path, FIFA permanently confirms every global accusation of favoritism, destroying their institutional credibility in writing. Now they are boxed into a corner. By generating a formal paper trail, the organization ensured that trying to avoid the rules now looks exactly like a documented cover-up. The entire sport is waiting on the findings of that disciplinary committee. Argentina arrived in the United States expecting to comfortably defend their international crown. Instead, they are leaving, staring down a mountain of legal proceedings. And FIFA, an organization that came to celebrate a summer of football, is now sitting in the dock right alongside the accused. So when the rulings finally come down, does the governing body uphold its own rules and throw the book at Argentina? Or does it contort itself one last time to shield its most marketable asset? Either way, for the very first time all tournament, this is a problem they cannot simply delete or make disappear.